Hey guys, welcome to our species spotlight on the Cardinal Tetra, one of the founding tropical fish in this hobby, in fact, Paracheirodon axelrodi. As usual, when we do our species spotlights, we're going to touch on origin, some interesting points about where the fish comes from. Then, of course, its behavior, tank mate compatibility, size, what you should keep it in. Touch on some points on feeding, and of course a little bit of greater detail on water conditions and stuff. Now, before we get moving with the video, I just want to make mention of the fact a lot of people often ask, "Is this a good fish for a beginner like me? I haven't kept tropical fish before. How would you rank this fish in terms of how easy or hard it is to keep?" And to that I say, really, I don't really pay much attention to that ranking. I pay attention more to who the person is, what they're willing to do, what level of responsibility they're willing to take for the pets, tropical fish included, of course, that they're willing to invest into proper husbandry of the fish. You're willing to provide the right conditions. You're definitely capable of keeping a fish like the Cardinal Tetra. It's not a difficult fish, but does require a couple of conditions that will help the fish a lot. With regards to the origin of the Cardinal Tetra, some interesting points. Basically, we know it's a South American tetra. The countries that are involved are basically Brazil, Venezuela, Colombia, and the two main watersheds are Rio Negro, which is a massive black water river, accounts for about 14% of the Amazon's black water content, and of course the Rio Orinoco, which is an extremely long river, about 3/4 of it going between Venezuela and Colombia. It's more clear white water, and brings me to the point of our Colombia expedition, because at one point we did enter the Rio Orinoco and went down a certain segment, went up a clear water tributary. In fact, I think the name of that river was the Cano Verde. Very interesting river, strong water flow, clear, soft, acidic water. And up there we did, when we went up to our final destination further up the that river, where it became more of a stream, a strong moving stream, we did see Cardinal Tetras and some other smaller species of tetras. So amazing how these fish that we keep in aquariums with typically lower, more calm, water movement, actually can tolerate some really strong currents. Next, we're going to go over some environment options. Now, when it comes to keeping the Cardinal Tetra in an aquarium, these are smaller, peaceful tetras, ranging in size from 3/4 to 1.5 inches. Females, of course, a little bit more robust, bulkier when they're well conditioned. Males are a little bit slimmer. You're looking at 6 to 10 as a minimum starting group with Cardinal Tetras for the best results. 15 gallons is a great place to start. We often get asked about the Flex 15 here, which is available both in a white and black trim. Group of 6 to 10 cardinals would be a great center feature for a lovely little tank like this. And when it comes to the actual environment itself, you got two options: clear water, dark water. If you're going to go dark water, well, of course, plants are not really that much of a feature, whereas in clear water they are. For those of you that want to set up a black water environment, peat, great addition to a filter. This will release a lot of tannins and humic acids, as well as imparting, that will impart a nice amber color to the water, relaxing the fish, really helps in the coloration of the fish as well. Add some tropical sea almond leaves to the front for some leaf litter, and you've created a nice natural habitat along with some driftwood. Now, what type of substrate you're looking at? It's really a white sandy to lighter color. Darker driftwood is something that I would always keep with Cardinal Tetras. In terms of water movement, you want it more on the slower side, nothing too aggressive, of course. Really not a tough fish to maintain, but there are some water conditions that you do have to pay attention to. In this last segment, we're going to cover feeding and water conditions. Now, the Cardinal Tetra is a smaller tetra. It is a fish that prefers to feed mid-water column. And so that being the case, something like fluval bug bites, a small sinking, slow sinking granule is really an excellent choice as a daily feed. We also have a color enhancing formula, something that supports the wonderful colors you see on a Cardinal Tetra, the thick red coloration beneath and above the turquoise stripe. gorgeous little fish. Now, there's other things, of course. You're not all advised to feed only one kind of food. Variety is always best. Freeze-dried foods that stick up against the glass will be ravenously attacked by Cardinal Tetras, as well as flake foods. You can sink a little bit and chop up some frozen foods every once in a while is a great thing for them as well. Bloodworms, black mosquito larvae, glassworms, these things are all relished by Cardinal Tetras as well. Now, in terms of frequency of feeding, they are small fish with small stomachs, so 2 feedings a day. Look for a nice little rounding of the stomach is generally fine. That, they attack their food. So in a minute, usually minute to minute and a half, they've consumed what they really need to per feeding. Now, when it comes to water temperature, this is a tetra that prefers it a little bit warmer. You're looking at a range of anywhere from 77 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, which translates to 25 to 28 degrees C. And as I said, warmer side, somewhere around the 80 degree or 27 degree, 28 degree C range. Now, when it comes to pH, they do tolerate 5 to 7.5, but something that would be ideal to target in a tank is more around 6 to 6.5, easier to maintain. And when it comes to carbonate hardness, look for values of around 2 to 4 degrees. So in a lot of tap waters, it means you have to soften things up a little bit for them. It will help them. It's not absolutely necessary, but if you're looking to provide the optimal environment, you will pay attention to that. And then, of course, you got your options in terms of clear versus dark water. I'm kind of a fan of keeping the Cardinal Tetra in a darker water environment with leaf litter, white sand, the classical dark driftwood. I like that setup with the Cardinals. They look like living gems in that kind of water. So there you go. That's the Cardinal Tetra. It is a hobby favorite. It is historically one of the fish that's been imported for the longest time. This fascinating tetra, in fact, can take a lot of credit for making our hobby as popular as possible. Comes from a wide area in South America too. Very easily accessible, not expensive. Great fish. Love it. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a like.